Welcome back to another round of Basis Picks. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an associate, enemy, any and all in between. It is appreciated. Now, this is actually going to be part 1 of 2. There's a lot of different cards that are taking place this weekend, and I didn't want this video to be super duper long, and they're both probably going to be fairly long, so had to break it up. I've decided to do it geographically, so the top rank card which takes place tonight, and also the matchroom card that takes place on Saturday night will be in this video. So that will be Shakur Stevenson against Edwin De Los Santos, and then Diego Pacheco against Marcelo Esteban Caceres. So we'll do those in this one, and then we'll do the UK cards in the next one, which will drop tomorrow. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to that first card. Some good fights to talk about. Right, so we'll kick it off with the top rank card, which will start with Emmanuel Navarrete against Robson Conceição. Just to let you know, if you do hear a lot of background noise, I'm having my bathroom redone at the moment, so that might be what you hear. Hopefully there's not too much, you won't distract too much, but if it is, apologies, just so you know, that's what's going on. Now, coming to Manuel Navarrete versus Conceição. Now, this is a very, very interesting fight, purely from a styles perspective. Like, Emmanuel Navarrete has a style that realistically should not work, especially against, really competent elite level boxers. He does a lot wrong. He throws off of mad trajectories. He'll almost move out of his own construct in order to sort of throw a shot. He'll throw a shot while in transition, then not sort of keeping himself defensive for the counter. But he does everything in such a offbeat rhythm to himself that it's very hard for his opponent to read. And not only that, he does have a huge activity. So while an opponent's trying to figure out where these shots are coming from, how this trajectory is supposed to work, another shot's coming, and then another shot's coming, and another shot's coming. So there's just a lot of different things that you have to deal with, and a lot of that can be mentally taxing. He's a very high volume, high work rate guy, but again, even though he throws in this weird rhythm, very much off rhythm to the standard practices, he's extremely effective. He's become elite at doing it, and that is one of the reasons why he ultimately has been so successful and been able to move up the weights. Just because you can't really, it's very, very hard to game plan for. You can't really get sparring for him. There's no one that can really replicate that. So everything you do, you basically have to learn on the job. Now, with him being in his, I believe this is actually his 3rd weight division, with him potentially looking to move up to a 4th afterwards, you can see some of the natural advantages he was having over previous opponents' size, power. He's still got power, but the size is no longer an advantage. That's becoming a lot more competitive between him and other opponents, and this could be one of the last fights he even has here. So those advantages will then trickle down and become even less pronounced again moving forward. Now, with Robson Conceição, he's a very sort of interesting character. Olympic gold medalist, but unfortunately lost his pro debut, and everyone thought, is he gonna be one of those flash in the pans? But no, since then, he's gone from strength to strength and was on sort of a major win streak up until he fought Oscar Valdez. Now, there's obviously controversy that, because Valdez did fail a VADA test prior to that, but was allowed to carry on and to fight the fight, and as such he was it was a very close fight, which a lot of people believe that Conceição actually won, but he didn't get the decision. Then you move forward again, he goes and has another opportunity at a title against Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur Stevenson blows the weight, doesn't make the weight on the night, so Conceição has the opportunity to win the belts, but Stevenson naturally was seen as the heir apparent better fighter, but he didn't have to lose as much weight as Conceição did to get into shape, so therefore maybe he had a bit more energy reserves in the tank. Look, overall, Conceição, one of his biggest weaknesses is that when he goes to throw a shot, especially a backhand, he sometimes throws himself off balance. It's like he tries to throw that shot from too far out in order to make it connect, like he's trying to launch into it, but in doing so he can get himself off balance, which has led to him on a few occasions falling over, or sometimes getting countered to the point where he just stumbles, loses his balance, and maybe even gets a count as a result of it. But he's a good operator. He's much more economical and much more based on timing than Navarrete is, and I think that just due to maybe activity, he's going to have some really good high level moments, but I don't believe that when it comes down to actually taking those moments and making the most of them and making them count, he's going to be able to ultimately do that consistently enough to get a decision in this fight. My prediction is going to be Emmanuel Navarrete to win based on points. I believe it would be a unanimous decision as well, and it will be a fight whereby they both have moments, but Navarrete just has more, and Robson Conceição ultimately just has to settle for second place again and settle for going the distance. That's my opinion on that one. Moving over now to Shakur Stevenson versus Edwin De Los Santos. Now this is going to be a fun fight for the first half. The first 4 to 5 rounds will definitely be fun. Edwin De Los Santos is a massive puncher, and he's a very spiteful puncher as well. They are both southpaws, so it's going to be southpaw versus southpaw. De Los Santos has had experience with fighting southpaws when he fought Valenzuela, and that was southpaw v southpaw as well. Obviously Shakur Stevenson is a converted southpaw, so he's comfortable fighting southpaws, and he's also comfortable fighting orthodox. He's quite happy to go both ways in terms of the stances. Now this fight, I feel, is going to be Shakur basically nicking a couple of the earlier rounds, like I'd say maybe rounds 2, 3, but having some trouble in rounds 1 and especially maybe rounds 4 and 5, purely because Edwin De Los Santos, he throws with mean intention for every single thing that he is going to let go in the ring, and Shakur is going to have to be defensively responsible, which is his game anyway. I don't think he's going to open up as much as he normally would, especially knowing that the power is there, and De Los Santos is a very vicious counter puncher as well. So with both guys being counter punchers, you could definitely see that there will be for me that there will be maybe lulls in activity where both are basically feinting each other, trying to get them to throw so they can counter. Shakur, I do feel like he's gonna, from sort of round 4, 5 onwards, he's gonna have got the measure fully of De Los Santos, and he's gonna start to go to work, but I don't feel like he's going to go through the gears necessarily. He is a bit annoyed at some of the stuff that De Los Santos has been saying prior to the fight, but I feel just because he knows that power is there, especially early, I don't feel like he's going to open up enough to take the necessary chances to get to sort of get De Los Santos out of there in those later rounds. He is hitting harder, he's hitting stronger, but there's enough risk and jeopardy there that I don't feel like he's going to open himself up to potentially get countered with one of those big massive shots. So I'm quite confident that he's going to win this fight comfortably enough on the scorecards, 8-4, 9-3 type situation, but I do think it goes the distance just because he won't commit in that final stanza and risk taking a big shot from Edwin De Los Santos. So that is my prediction. Shakur Stevenson to win this fight, very, very comfortable, very wide on the points, but just not really stepping on the gas to try and go for the stoppage. Let me know what you guys think below, but now let's move on to the Matchroom card. Okay, so now moving over to Matchroom in California. We'll start off real quick. You got Calify against Jonathan Gonzalez. So Calify, I think, is 27-1, and Gonzalez is 16-1-1. Now, Gonzalez hasn't had the, he necessarily hasn't had the biggest of names or the biggest of tests, but he's young, he's hungry, and he wants to impress. Now, his one defeat, just like Cal's, was a KO defeat. But at this point, I guess the intrigue is, how much does Cal Yafai have left? I mean, look, Galal Yafai is clearly the sort of the next heir apparent within that family. Cal was the former world champion, but ever since he, got totally destroyed by Chocolatito Gonzalez, he hasn't been the same. He was out of the ring for a while, and now just, maybe the last fight was a timing thing, but he just isn't of everything just sort of feels like it's downhill, and we're just not sure how much he's got left. So the intrigue in this fight is, can he go to the well once again? He's being called out by Charlie Edwards. I'm assuming if he gets through this fight, there's probably not going to be any other fights for him to be able to take other than the Charlie Edwards fight, or maybe a voluntary title shot. I think in this fight he's going to face more crisis and jeopardy, similar to the last fight that he got. If in my opinion, he kind of got gifted that decision on the cards. I think in this scenario he will be a little bit better, because right now he will at least be sort of punch ready. He will remember what punches feel like, and he may have a bit more of a resistance. I still feel like it's going to be a very difficult fight for him, but I do feel he will come through this one, and it won't be as controversial as the last one. But I think he's still gonna struggle, and we're gonna really sort of understand, he's not the fighter he used to be, and the end is nigh when it comes to Cal Yafai. But that's my thoughts on that one. Next up, moving to Myelin Rivas versus Erica Cruz Hernandez. Now, this is for the WBA Super Bantamweight title, and Myelin Rivas is one of the most vicious punchers in that division, but her level of activity hasn't been great, especially even after signing with Matchroom. You would have thought they would have got her out more often than they did, to the point where I think she even took a fight outside of her Matchroom contract just for activity, which almost ended up costing her belt. The fight ended early, I think, due to a clash of heads or something, and ended up being ruled, I think she got it on a technical decision, because they had her up on I think they either had it up on the cards at the time of the stoppage, or it was a draw. I can't remember which one exactly, but either way, she was very lucky to escape with the belt, because had the fight have gone longer, she was losing those rounds. With that being said, Erica Cruz Hernandez is coming down from 126, so we've not experienced her at 122 before. We don't know exactly what kind of we don't know what sort of condition that will leave her in, but one thing we do know about Erica Cruz is that she will throw punches from the first second of round 1 to the last second of round 10. She will look like she's physically dying in the corner in between rounds, but she'll come back at the next round and throw another 100 punches if she can. Like, whatever is in the gas tank, she will definitely let out. And with Erica, her whole fight is a very sort of a swarming approach, big wide hooks, left hooks, right hooks, but she moves and dips her head while she's doing it. All of that will basically lead in to Myelin Rivas not necessarily being able to get the right timing and trajectory. But if Myelin can hold the size advantage and hold the range, and maybe try to time in between some of those wild swings, if she's able to catch Erica in the middle of one of those salvos, I feel she could do some real damage, purely because even though Erica's head does move off the line, there's never any hands to protect. It's always the pendulum motion. But if you catch that pendulum as it's coming towards the shot, there could be yeah, there could be some intrigue in how she takes those, especially at a new weight that she's not used to. But she is the naturally bigger woman of the two, size wise, not height. But we'll see how much detriment that extra 4 pounds coming off will do for her. That being said, I don't think Myling's been active enough, and Erica has been very active, and she's a pressure fighter anyway. So even though Rivas should have the stylistic advantage, I don't think her activity lands to the necessary timing that she'll need in order to create those openings and catch Erica on the way in. So my prediction is that Erica Cruz will win this fight via a unanimous decision, probably 7 rounds to 3. 97-93 to me sounds about right, just due to, again, lack of activity from Myling Rivas, or lack of natural aggression and intent. Maybe she could surprise me, and I rate Rivas highly. I just don't think that she's gonna have the work rate to be able to keep up Erica in this one. Now, last but not least, moving to the main event of that card, which is Diego Pacheco versus Marcelo Esteban Caceres, sorry. Now, with regards to this one, I'm fairly comfortable in this. Caceres has given tough tests and tough nights to Billy Joe Saunders in the past. He was the first person to drop what's the guy's name? I'm blanking on his name. Puerto Rican guy from New York. I'll write it across the screen, it's fine. First guy to drop him, and also he's just he's a sort of a tough operator, but that being said, Diego Pacheco is Diego Edgar Berlanga, that's the name. Diego Pacheco he's a really, really good 168 pounder. He's been taking all the natural steps, the right work from sort of his pro debut with Matchroom all the way up to now. He's 19-0 at the moment with 16 KOs. Quite frankly, I'm expecting that to go to 20-0 with 17 KOs by the end of the night. Billy Joe Saunders, even though he had trouble with Caceres, he did get him out of there in the 10th round. Diego Pacheco is just a big guy. Now he's coming into his frame. Obviously, he trains with David Benavidez in the Benavidez gym, so he knows how to throw those straight shots. He knows how to fight inside if he needs to, and he's got really good hooks. His defense isn't the greatest, but he has been working on that, and he doesn't take stupid shots needlessly. So I'm quite comfortable in picking Pacheco to stop Caceres, and I do think it will be around about round 6. I'm thinking sort of round 6, maybe round 7, but it doesn't go much further than that in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Please put your comments down below, and yeah, I will catch you on the part 2 of Basis Picks. But for right now, and for the US portion of the fight week anyway, that's Basis Picks. Locked.